श्रीपाद श्रीवल्लभत्वं सदैव श्रीदत्तास्मान् पाहि देवाधिदेव भावग्राह्य क्लेशहारिं सुकीर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। त्वं नो माता त्वं पिता प्तोऽधिपस्त्वं त्राता योग क्षेमकृत् सद्गुरुस्त्वं त्वं सर्वस्वं नो प्रभो विश्वमूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। पापं तापं व्याधिमादिं च दैन्यं भीतिं क्लेशं त्वं हराशुत्वदन्यम् त्रातारण्यो वीक्ष ईशास्त्रजूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। नान्यस्त्राता न पिता न भर्ता त्वत्तो देव त्वं शरण्योकहर्ता कुर्वात्रेयानुग्रहं पूर्णराते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। धर्मे प्रीतिं सन्मतिं देवभक्तिं सत्सङ्गाप्तिं देहि भुक्तिं च मुक्तिं भावासक्तिं चाखिलानन्दमूर्ते घोरात् कष्टात् उद्धरास्मान् नमस्ते। श्लोकपञ्चकमेतद्यो लोकमङ्गलवर्धनम् प्रपठेन्नियतो भक्त्या श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत् श्रीदत्तप्रियो भवेत्। श्रीपादराजं शरणं प्रपद्ये। श्रीपाद श्रीवल्लभ चरितामृतम Chapter 7. The description of universal spheres. The efficacy of elixir called Biography of Sripada Srivallabha. In the morning, Tirumaladasa completed his daily worship and began to narrate, "My child, Shankara Bhatta, the divine life story of Sripada Srivallabha is a divine elixir. It is unheard of, unprecedented and undebatable. You had the good fortune of writing his biography only on account of the boundless grace of Sri Sreepada Sreevallabha on you. This great fortune, which is not available even to the great scholars, is granted to you. This is only His will. The appearance of Sripada in many places at the same time. After he got out of death, the attractive power of Narasavadhani decreased. In the past, when he was thinking of any person in his meditation, that person used to arrive without fail to the presence of Narasavadhani, irrespective of the distance involved. That power had diminished. Those people who were afraid of him and those who showered him with all the praise were not afraid of him. They were troubling him with all sorts of criticism whenever an opportunity arose. His financial position also worsened. Resources for providing 2 square meals a day also dwindled. He came into streets wailing at his miserable condition. At that time, Bapanarya was carrying his grandson on his shoulders. The house of Bapanarya was situated at the turning of one street. Sri Charana was spending most of his time at his grandfather's house than his own house. He was going freely to the houses of Sri Narasimhavarma and Sri Painda Venkatappaya Shreshthi. Narasavadhani wanted to speak with Sripada. He wanted to hold that charming divine child in his arms and kiss him. Narasavadhani saw Sripada who was going with Bapanarya. Srivallabha looked at Narasavadhani and smiled. That smile was very bewitching. Then Narasavadhani went to the house of Shreshthi for some grocery items. There, Sripada Vallabha was in the lap of Shreshthi. Sripada extended his looks towards Narasavadhani and smiled with dalliance. Narasavadhani returned to his home with the grocery items and from there went to the house of Sri Narasimhavarma. At that time, he saw in the house of Sri Varma that Srivallabha was sitting on the shoulders of Sri Varma. Again, Srivallabha extended a playful smile on seeing Narasavadhani. Narasavadhani saw Srivallabha in the houses of his grandfather, Sri Varma and Sri Shreshthi at the same time. He was in a dilemma as to whether it was a dream or the illusion of Lord Vishnu. The people of the town were abusing him and finding fault with him. They were blaming him that he was responsible for the disappearance of the self-existent idol of Datta in Padagaya Kshetra. Narasavadhani was roaming in the streets like a traveler without any destination. He reached the house like a madman. The wife of Narasavadhani grieved on seeing her husband like a mad person. She went inside the room of worship to give vent to her agony. She found a wonderful spectacle there. Sripada Srivallabha was in their room for worship. There was no end to the joy of those couple. They begged Sripada to partake to food with totakura curry to be prepared by them. Sripada did not agree to that. When factors of time, cause and action become favorable at the same time, some rare fortune would be available. A discriminating individual recognizes it and derives benefit. An undiscriminating one fails to recognize it and would be put to loss. At last, Sripada agreed to dine in their house, but not in the present life. He promised them that he would be born in the holy land of Maharashtra in the next birth under the name of Sri Narasimha Saraswati, and that he would certainly visit their house and accept meals comprising of totakura curry. With the powers of his Ganesha incarnation that took place on a Sri Ganesha Chaturthi, another great person with the name of Gajanana would be born after some centuries nearer to his birthplace. It may be possible to change the courses of sun and moon, but it would not be possible for anyone to alter the promises of Sripada. All the living creatures in the creation, including the 5 elements, have to obey his commands. In compliance with his promises, he is steadfast and truthful. Even when universes shake, eons change, his sportive leelas will remain ever true and most modern. In that chamber of worship, Sripada gave some beneficial advice to Narasavadhani and his wife. Those sacred beneficial preachings are useful to all the devotees of Lord Datta. The following conversation took place between Narasavadhani and Srivallabha. The dialogue between Sripada Srivallabha and Narasavadhani in the Puja Mandir. The preachings of Sripada to Narasavadhani. For the questions of Narasavadhani, Sri Sreepada Sreevallabha replied with his preachings. Question: Who are you? Are you God, a yaksha, a celestial person, or a magician? Reply: I am myself. I am I. I am the primordial power that is inborn in every atom in this creation made of 5 elements. From animals and birds up to the entire countless living creatures, I also reside in them in their maternal and paternal forms. I am the preceptor of this whole creation. Question: Then, are you an incarnation of Lord Datta? Reply: Undoubtedly I am Datta. As you are having body, I also come with a body to enable you to recognize me. In fact, I am formless, attributeless. Question: Then you have no form or attributes, is it not? Reply: To have no form is also a form. To have no qualities is also a quality. I am the base for form and no form, for attributes and non-attributes, and I am beyond them also. Question: If you are everything, why weal and woes to living beings? Reply: Myself and yourself are within you. Nevertheless, yourself residing within you is Jiva, and myself residing within you is Paramatma. As long as you entertain the notion of doership, you cannot become me. Till then, you cannot come out of the pairs of opposites like happiness and misery, sin and virtue. When the you in yourself diminish and I in you ascend higher, then only you come closer to me. As you come closer and closer to me, your responsibility decreases. When you are under my care, you obtain happiness and well-being. Question: Some people say that Jivatma and Paramatma are different. Others say that Jivatma is very close to Paramatma. Some others maintain that Jiva is God. Which of them is correct? Reply: There is no loss if both of us remain separate. Beneficial fortune would accrue when your arrogance is annihilated and both of us remain in a state of duality. You remain in a state of bliss provided you realize that everything is earned on account of my grace and that you are only an instrumental phenomenon. Liquidation of moha is liberation. Therefore, you can attain salvation even in a dual state. When you are in a very close proximity to me, I will be revealing through you. When all my powers are revealed through you, when your arrogance is destroyed, the ignorant infatuation in you decreases. In this superior non-dualistic state, you achieve bliss. This is also liberation because it is devoid of infatuation. When your egotism is totally erased and your presumption of doership is completely burnt down, the I in you fades out and only me remains in you. So you will attain Brahmananda, that is profound bliss which cannot be comprehended by mind by any means. Therefore, you can achieve liberation even if you are in a non-dualistic state. The state of Brahmananda is all the same whether you are in a dualistic, non-dualistic or distinguished dualistic state of spiritual progress. It cannot be captured by mind or word. It is only a matter of experience. Question. Some people who attain the position of Avadhutas call themselves the Supreme Brahman. Then, are you an Avadhuta? Reply. No, I am not an Avadhuta. I am the superior Brahman. An Avadhuta experiences that everything is Brahman. But I am Brahman. And my position is that I am everything. Question. I do not understand the secret in this small difference. Reply. Avadhuta, who is freed from all worldly bonds, merges in me and experiences the state of supreme bliss. He has no individuality, and when there is no individuality, there is no will or resolve. I am in the great resolve for this creation, and I am also in the supreme power. I am in the shape of power of illusion called living creatures. If I order an Avadhuta who merged in me to take birth again, he should obey it. Mine is a form of truth, knowledge and bliss coupled with willpower. Their form of truth, knowledge and bliss is devoid of willpower. Question. Fried up seeds won't sprout, is it not? After attaining the knowledge of Brahman himself, how is it possible to be born again? Reply. It is of nature's principle that fried seed would not sprout. However, the power and strength of the Creator lies in sprouting up fried seeds. In fact, my incarnation in the past took place to prove truth through these theories and counter-theories. Question. Lord Datta, Sreepada, kindly explain. Reply. My father, who crossed all trios like past, future and present, three states of existence, creation, continuance and liquidation, became famous as sage Atri. My mother became well known as Anasuya because she was not having the slightest envy or hatred towards any creature or any matter. Sage Atri undertook a severe penance to visualize the Paranjyoti, which is the support for the Trinity and also beyond it. Mother Anasuya also did penance, praying to that Paranjyoti to look at each living being and material with ambrosial glances and shower grace on them. Living beings experience weal and woe according to the principles of karma. Therefore, Mother Anasuya used to pray with a good intention that the results of great sins should affect people slightly and the results of small virtuous acts should give bountiful results. Mother had transformed strong metal pieces in the shape of chickpeas into life-eatable chickpeas by virtue of her spiritual power acquired through penance. Metal is consciousness in complete dormant state. Trees and tree-related substances are consciousness in a partial state. Animals belong to a state of complete consciousness. The evolution of man takes place in the following manner. At first, born as metal and then dies. Afterwards, takes birth as trees and creepers, then takes birth as animals, and finally emerges as a human being. Such a human being should cultivate discrimination, wisdom, and detachment, and awaken the divine power dormant in him and strive to achieve liberation. Mother had proved that the properties of evolutionary process can be changed with the grace of Almighty. The consciousness in the form of Trinity was in an awakened state. Therefore, she changed it into a dormant state and transformed the three Godheads into small babies. Powers of the three mothers, Lakshmi, Parvati, and Saraswati combined, and the manifestation of Anagha Devi took place. I was born as Dattatreya and married Anagha Devi. In the incarnation of Sripada Sreevallabha, I was born with Anagha Devi on my left side and Dattatreya on my right side. This is a form of Lord Shiva combining half masculine and half feminine features. You must understand that the Lord who created this magnificent creation according to his free will also has the strength and power to alter the principles of creation when needed. Question: Sripada, you are capable of changing the principles and nature of creation. Can't you remove my poverty? Reply: Certainly I can remove, but I am postponing to the next birth. That too, after you suffer from penury for some time. Totakura is a small thing, but how much attachment you developed for it? My mother, father, or grandfather never begged anyone for anything. How much food a small boy like me will consume? You should have given Totakura when I liked it. Now that time elapsed. This lifetime is not sufficient to purge the impurities in your mind. Each individual would be endowed with lifespan, wealth, beauty, and fame commensurate with his accumulated credit of punya. The fruits of sin would result in short lifespan, poverty, ugliness, and infamy. I have enhanced the duration of your life by extracting a major portion of your accumulated punya. The credit on account of your punya was largely spent, and the sinful portion remained in a large measure. You should suffer poverty. Even then, because you have adorned self-existent Datta, I am granting you 2 square meals a day. You will not get troubled in spite of your poverty. Question: Sripada, scriptures enjoin that we should follow the caste system. Your grandfather decided that Vaishyas can have investiture of holy thread under Vedic system. Is it not wrong? Reply: Your tongue should be slit as you are finding fault with the decision of that Satya Rishishwara. Whom do you think is our grandfather? He is actually Bhaskaracharya. The couple Vishnudatta and Sushila were very sacred persons who did not know what was selfishness. I instructed the deities of time and action to make them my parents. The ancestors of Narasimhavarma were great devotees of Sri Lakshmi Narasimhaswamy. They were pious people who organized large-scale food feeding during the sacrifices and rituals in Simhachalam. Even before I was born in Pithikapuram, I was planning in a systematic way. My relationship of indebtedness for those 3 families will not be redeemed in one life. It will not end in one incarnation. My auspicious bestowing boons would be extended to them for many generations. They live without any worry under the shade of my divine canopy. The assurance of Sripada to his devotees. As far as my matter was concerned, you could not give me even the cheap Totakura. If you offered me meals, you could have earned merit equivalent to feeding lakhs of Brahmins. You lost lot of fortune. You should depend upon scriptures when a debate arises as to what is dharma and what is adharma. However, When a doubt arises whether the injunctions of scriptures are to be implemented or not, the decision of pure-hearted people is to be regarded as an injunction of scriptures. Whatever they say is Vedic truth, and their word is acceptable to the tenets of righteousness. Even if they want to pronounce an unrighteous decree, the goddess of justice would not allow them to digress into an evil path and compel them to deliver a correct judgment. Your scriptures tell that it is sin to harm others. The battle that was fought in the presence of Lord Sri Krishna is famous as a righteous battle. The place where the battle between Kauravas and Pandavas took place had become famous as Dharmakshetra. Religious sacrifice gives punya, but when the Supreme Lord Shiva was not invited, the sacrifice performed by Daksha ultimately became a big battle. The head of Daksha was cut and fell. The head of a goat was fixed for him. While there is aggravation of bile, the physician would treat the patient with lemon and acid myrobalam. When a part of the body is putrefied, the surgeon would sever it with a knife and treat it. I am also the same. Features of deities and devils also are within me. I behave like a lunatic, a ghost, and also as a devil. Nevertheless, love towards all living beings would be overflowing within me. My conduct would be in tune with your nature, the good and bad results of your actions. I will not leave the hands of devotees who render total surrender to me. I will drag my devotees residing in distant lands forcibly to my kshetra. You should not discuss the origin of sages and rivers. Has not the Supreme Shakti taken birth as Kanyaka Parameshwari in the Vaishya caste? There are accomplished siddhas in Vaishya sages. Not only for Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya castes, but low caste Shudras are also eligible for Vedic Upanayanam if they observe spiritual discipline and regulations. The third eye should open up by performance of Upanayanam. The inner consciousness should get purified and mind should concentrate on the knowledge of Supreme. Your mind is completely absorbed in the knowledge of vegetables. Do you think that Brahman is a commodity to be procured in the market? A Brahmin in this life may be born as a Paraya in the next birth, and a Paraya in this birth may be born as a Brahmin in the next birth. Please note that the Supreme Brahman transcends time and space, caste and religion. God likes inner feelings and not external appearances. God works according to your feeling. When matters relating to knowledge of Brahma come up, I am a Brahmin. When holding court inquiring the welfare of devotees and granting them favors, I am a Kshatriya. For every living being, a wage would be fixed according to his actions of virtue or sin. The wages of every person are with me. When I weigh and measure for calculating what is due to every individual, I am a Vaishya. As I serve people by attracting to my body the troubles and pains of my devotees, I am a Shudra. When I wash out the sins of living creatures, I am a washerman. When I burn the dead to ashes and grant them noble births, I am a keeper of the burial ground. Now, decide and tell me to which caste I belong. Question. Sripada, excuse me, I am an ignorant one. You are Lord Datta himself. You are the sole refuge for all living creatures. Kindly explain to me how creation is formed. The description of several worlds. Reply. Grandpa, there are 88,000 sages in heaven who are householders. They have the nature of transmigration of souls. They stand as seeds for propagating dharma again. From the undefinable power of the universal soul, a small fragment took the shape of Brahma for the creation of the universe. Water which came out gradually from Paramatma spread out everywhere. From the vigor of the super soul, many crores of golden eggs were formed. This Brahmandam in which we are living is one among them. When the inside of the egg was filled with gloom, the brilliance of Parameshwara was personified and became famous under the name of Aniruddha. As he illuminated the egg with its magnificent luster, he was termed as Hiranyagarbha, Surya, Savita, and Paranjyoti, and many other names in Vedas. Sage Bharadwaja conducted the sacrifice of Savitrikathaka Chayanam during Treta Yuga in Petikapuram. Savitrikathaka Chayanam was addressed to the great splendor of Dattatreya that enveloped many crores of universes. In Satyaloka, there is an important place called Niramaya Sthana. In 3-tier steps, deities of mains called Vasu, Rudra, and Adityas reside. They act as the guardians of Niramaya Sthana. The Karana Brahmaloka is the residential place of 4-faced Brahma. Srinagar, which is famously known as the Vidyasthanam and the Moola Prakriti Sthanam, is above it. Above that, Maha Kailasa is there, and the Karana Vaikuntha is above that. Known as Puranapuram is the place of Vidyadhara Sthana in Satyaloka. Sadhyas reside in Anjanavatipura of Tapoloka. Sanaka, Sanandana, and other sages live in Ambavatipura of Janaloka. Siddha and other sages live in Jyotishmatipuram of Maharloka. Indra and other deities reside in Amaravatipuram of Svargaloka called as Suvarloka. The celestial architect Vishwakarma lives in Rathantarapuram of Bhuvarloka, which houses stars and planets of the globe. Grandpa, there are 2 divisions in Bhuloka, that is the earth. The division inhabited by humans is called Bhugola. There is another one known as Mahabhumi. Mahabhumi is situated at the south of Bhugola at a distance of 5 crore Brahmanda Yojanas. Martyaloka means Bhuloka and Bhuvarloka. This includes Mahabhumi also. Patala means Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Mahatala, Patalas. Roughly, these are called Swarga, Martya, and Patalas. Mahabhumi is situated below the earth in which we live. It is in the form of a rising circular ground in the middle. Therefore, the illumination from sun and moon constantly light the surface of Mahabhumi. As there is always light, there is no determination of time there. On this great earth, 7 seas and 7 islands exist. Jambudvipa is situated here only. In the beginning of creation, everything was inundated with water. As Prajapati did penance for commencing creation, a lotus leaf appeared on the water at that time. Prajapati assumed the form of a wild boar and took a dip near the lotus leaf and reached the Mahabhumi. From that Mahabhumi, he dug with his sharp tusks and separated some mud and brought that wet mud to the surface of the water. That mud was placed in the lotus leaf. Then it was named as Prithvi. Grandpa, this is called as Earth. The Earth is at a distance of 5 crore Brahmanda Yojanas from Mahabhumi. An ordinary Yojana is 10 miles. Mahabhumi has an extent of 50 crore Yojanas. Jambudvipa, which is in Mahabhumi, has 9 continents in it. Deities reside in Daivakhanda. In Garbhastya Khanda, spirits. In Bharata Khanda, human beings reside. In Saraka Khanda, Siddhas. In Gandharva Khanda, Gandharvas. In Purusha Khanda, Kinnaras dwell. Demons in Tamra Khanda, Yakshas in Sheru Khanda, and Pannagas in Indhu Khanda live. Southwards to Jambudvipa of Mahabhumi, in Bharatapura of Bharata continent, Vaivasvata Manu holds court along with the sages of the earth and humans. Just as Jambudvipa exists in Mahabhumi, another Jambudvipa exists on earth. Even before I incarnated in Sri Pithikapuram, the incarnation of Sripada Srivallabha arrived on the Mahabhumi 100 years in advance. The Jambudvipa on Mahabhumi is spread over an extent of 1 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Only in Bharata subcontinent of Jambudvipa, Vaivasvata Manu dwells. In other continents, celestials reside. In Jambudvipa of Mahabhumi, cold and heat would be moderate and pleasant. Mild rays of sun spread always. But there is no difference between day and night. Jambudvipa in Mahabhumi spreads over 1 lakh yojanas. The details of the extent of various seas and mountains are as follows. Lavana Samudram is 1 lakh yojanas. Plakshadvipa is 2 lakh yojanas. Ikshu Samudram is 2 lakh yojanas. Kushadvipa is 4 lakh yojanas. Sura Samudram is 4 lakh yojanas. Kraunchadvipa is 8 lakh yojanas. Sarpi Samudram is 8 lakh yojanas. Shakadvipa is 16 lakh yojanas. Dadhisi is 16 lakh yojanas. Shalmali Dvipa is 32 lakh yojanas. Shirasamudram is 32 lakh yojanas. Pushkara Dvipa is 64 lakh yojanas. Shuddha Jalasamudram is 64 lakh yojanas. Chalachala mountain is 128 lakh yojanas. Chakravala mountain is 256 lakh yojanas. Lokaloka mountain is 512 lakh yojanas. Tapo Bhumi is 1250 lakh yojanas. Rays of the sun cannot go beyond Lokaloka mountain. Therefore, the area between Lokaloka mountain and the wall of the universe is always dark. The wall of the universe has thickness of 1 crore yojanas. The Varaha and Narasimha incarnations were not covering the entire earth. Varaha is not a pig. It is a rhinoceros having 1 tusk. Dvipas, Dvipa Adhipatis and Dvipa Devatas. Whereas Jambudvipa in Mahabhumi was ruled by Swayambhuva Manu as the first emperor, his sons became kings for the other islands. Medhatithi ruled Plakshadvipa. Vapushmanta ruled Shalmaladvipa. Jyotishmanta ruled Kushadvipa. Dyutimanta ruled Kraunchadvipa. Havya ruled Shakadvipa and Savana ruled Pushkaradvipa as first emperors respectively. In Plakshadvipa, Aryaka, Kurara, Vindaka and Bhavina are the 4 castes who reside. For them, Vishnu in the shape of the moon is the deity. In Shalmali Dvipa, Kapilavarna, Chakravakavarna, Pitavarna and Krishnavarna are the 4 castes who reside. They are worshippers of Vishnu. In Kushadvipa, Dami, Shushmina, Sneha and Mandeha are the 4 castes who reside. For them, Brahma is the deity of worship. In Kraunchadvipa, Pushkara, Pushkala, Dhanya and Pishya are the 4 castes who reside. For them, Rudra is the deity of worship. In Shakadvipa, Manga, Magadha, Manasa and Manda are the 4 castes who reside. They worship sun god. In Pushkaradvipa, there are no castes. All are happy like celestials without any suffering from diseases and sorrows. For them, Brahma is the deity of worship. In Jambudvipa of our earth, Bharatavarsha, Kimpurusha Varsha, Harivarsha, Ketumala Varsha, Ilavrita Varsha, Bhadrashva Varsha, Ramyaka Varsha, Hiranyaka Varsha and Kuru Varsha are there. Grandpa, just as Jambudvipa with divisions of continents exists in Mahabhumi, another Jambudvipa with bifurcation of regions exists in Earth's hemisphere. Mahabhumi is round with an elevated area in the middle like the shell of a tortoise. This is called Bhumandala. The globe of the earth is, however, like a lemon fruit. Mahabhumi encircles Meru Rekha and extends up to the wall of the Brahmanda, but earth stood in the equi-middle point of the circle of illumination. Jambudvipa lies encircling the line of Meru mountain which is in the middle of Mahabhumi. 7 seas and islands are situated around it. In the earth, the northern hemisphere is called Devabhaga and the southern hemisphere is called Asurabhaga. Meru is divinely shining in the equidistant central point in the Mahabhumi. It is the habitation of Manus who rule over the humans. Bhugola is the place of humans who are under the rule of Manus. The wheel of illumination is fixed on the top of the Chakravala mountain which is situated around in the Mahabhumi. The Bhugola is, however, situated differently. Sparkling of wheel of illumination covered by 7 paths go around the earth once in a day. In Mahabhumi, cold, heat and other climatic changes are less. It is always day with no night and no difference in time. It is different in Bhugola. Only on account of the results of righteous acts of merit, one can reach Mahabhumi. Bhugola is the Karma Bhumi, that is the land of action for earning punya. People with gross bodies have to live on the earth. In Mahabhumi, small pralayas do not take place. Only Manu pralayas, that is the deluge of Manu, takes place. In Bhugola, Yuga pralaya, Mahayuga pralaya and Manu pralaya are happening. Mahabhumi is called Dhatri and Vidhatri. Bhugola is called Mahi, Urvi, Kshiti, Prithvi and Bhumi. Grandpa, I am now telling about the netherworlds, the Patala Lokas. Listen, ghosts live in Atala. Guhyakas live in Vitala. Demons live in Sutala. Spirits abound in Rasatala. Yakshas live in Talatala. Mains in Mahatala. And serpents in Patala reside. Description of denizens of lokas, lokadhipatis and continents. Kubera resides in Vitala. He is the lord of Navanidhis, the 9 treasures. He is the treasurer for the Brahmanda. He is the ruler of the northern side. His capital is Alakapuri in Vitala. Maya lives in Yoginipura, which is on the western side of Meru in the same Vitala. He is the architect for demons. He constructed for Tripurasuras 3 townships which can cruise in high altitudes in the sky. Yamadharmaraja rules Vaivasvatapura in Sutala. He is the lord of the southern side. A river of blazing flame is at the entrance of that town. This is called Vaitarani. People having punya can cross this river easily, but it is very difficult for sinners. A demon, Niruti, rules Punyanagara in Rasatala. He is the lord of the southwest side. Petala with hordes of devils dwells in Dhanishtapura in Talatala, the consort of Katyayani, Ishana with all Bhutaganas, lives in Kailasa of Mahatala. He is the ruler of Ishanya, that is the northeastern direction. Shriman Narayanamurti resides in Vaikunthanagara in Patala. He is there with all splendor. He is served by the spirits of Patala, Vasuki and other superior serpents. He rests on the couch of Sheshanaga. This is called Karya Vaikuntha, situated in Shvetadvipa. In the last Patala Loka, there are 3-tier segments. In the first segment, the bodiless creatures live. In the second segment, groups of ghosts stay. In the third segment, creatures who take bodies of suffering remain immersed in great misery. 7 seas and 7 islands are in Mahabhumi. In the middle of it, Jambudvipa is situated. That was divided into 9 continents. The continent in the south is called Bharatakhanda. Swayambhuva Manu resides in Bharatapura of this continent. Many virtuous people and sages are under the rule of Manu. They administer the worlds and enforce principles of righteousness and unrighteousness. Surrounding the 7 islands on Mahabhumi, mountains called Charachara, Chakravala and Loka rise up to the Swargaloka. These are layers which do not allow any light to penetrate through them. Below Mahabhumi, 7 nether worlds exist. They are called Saptapatalas. Atalaloka is inhabited by devils. In Alakapuri of Vitalaloka, Kubera resides. In Yoginipura of Vitalaloka, Maya lives along with demons. In Sutala, Emperor Bali lives with his demon servants. Yamadharmaraja lives in Vaivasvatapura. Sinners suffer their punishments in the various hells here. Punyapura in Rasatala is the seat of Nairuti. Here, spirits and similar other categories exist. Betala resides in Dhanishtapura of Talatala. In Kailasapura of Talatala, Rudra dwells. Mahatala is the seat of the mains and forefathers. Shvetadvipa Vaikuntha is in Patala. Narayana lives here. In the lower portion adjacent to Meru, bodiless creatures, souls of the dead and suffering bodies exist. In a place called Niralamba Suchyagrasthana, sinners of heinous crimes find a place. After meals in the post-water offering, water is offered to these people with chanting of mantra, Raurave Apunya Nilaye Padmarbhude Nivasinam Arthinam Udakam Dattam Akshayam Upadishtati. Description of lokas, their names and extents. Please understand clearly that Bhugola and the Mahabhumi in Bhuloka are different. Suryaloka shines in Meru Rekha, in the area that extends up to upper polar star in the upper region above the central point of Bhugola. This is the world where Suryadeva resides. This is not at all the area of the planet Sun. In the same way, Chandraloka, Angarakaloka, Budhaloka, Guruloka, Shukraloka, Shaneshwaraloka, the loka of presiding deities of Rashis, the loka of deities of stars, the loka of the 7 sages, and the upper Dhruvaloka exist. Besides these, there are many other lokas. Suryaloka is situated 1,00,000 Brahmanda Yojanas from the central point of earth. This is the world where Suryadeva, who is the presiding deity of planet Sun, lives. The following lokas are situated at distances from the central point of earth as follows. Chandraloka is 2 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Angarakaloka is 3 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Budhaloka is 5 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Guruloka is 7 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Shukraloka is 9 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Shaniloka is 11 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Loka of presiding deities of Rashis, 12 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Loka of deities of stars is 13 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Saptarishi Loka is 14 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. Dhruvaloka is 15 lakh Brahmanda Yojanas. In the same manner, Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka and Satyaloka are situated at various distances from the central point of earth. The distance between the central point of earth and the wall encircling the Brahmanda, that is the Andabhitti, is 24 crores 50 lakhs Brahmanda Yojanas. The distance between central point of earth and the outer wall of the Andabhitti is 25 crores 50 lakhs Brahmanda Yojanas. Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka and Suvarloka are destroyed during the great deluge. Maharloka above Suvarloka is partly destroyed and partly remains. Janaloka, Tapoloka and Satyaloka are not destroyed till the life of Brahma expires. Swarga comprises of Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka and the area up to Andabhitti. Who is Datta? Narasavadhani Tata, to experience the philosophy of Lord Datta, you require some lakhs of births. Know that Datta is the only one magnificent, brilliant illumination that spreads over crores and crores of Brahmandas and transcends them. Know that the same Lord Datta is actually before you as Sripada Srivallabha. On hearing the kind teaching of Sri Charana, Narasavadhani and his wife were astonished. As the young infant, aged just 1 year, expatiated so many profound things with authority, and as he proclaimed that he is verily Lord Datta himself, Narasavadhani and his wife began to sob. They wanted at least to touch his auspicious feet. Srivallabha refused it. Narasavadhani and his wife could not move even slightly from the places where they were sitting. Sripada averred, I am Datta. I am the sole phenomenon that pervades crores and crores of universes. Directions are my dress. I am Digambara. Whoever chants with purity of mind, speech and body, Datta Digambara, Sripada Vallabha Digambara, Narasimha Saraswati Digambara, I stay there in subtle form. My maternal grandfather, Shri Bapanarya, is providing free boarding and lodging facilities to those who visit Padagaya Kshetra from other places for performing rituals to their mains. While it was so, you ridiculed. Where is your Swayambhu Datta? Has he not disappeared? I am that Datta. Whoever stays in that sacred house of my birth surely turns sacred. Their ancestors will get Punyalokas. I am the Lord who has to look to the welfare not only of living beings but also of dead ones. Both birth and death are equal to me. Nevertheless, you are worrying. Is this the result of adoring Swayambhu Datta? Swayambhu Datta will appear shortly to remove the slander against you. The consecration ceremony also takes place. I am granting you a greater lifespan. Remain in the meditation of Lord Datta. I am assuring you that I will show mercy in your next birth. In this birth, You do not have that much great punya to enable you to touch my feet. I, who created, protected and liquidated crores and crores of Brahmandas and the sole monarch of all this creation, bless you with my boon-giving auspicious hand. With a great terrible sound, the atoms in the body of Sripada disintegrated and Sripada disappeared. My child, Shankara Bhatta, Sripada has explained the mystery in chanting his name by adding Digambara at the end of the name. His is a nature of omnipresence. It is beyond our comprehension how the formless nature takes shape and incarnates. Where is the end to the sportive place from his childhood of that Lord of the universe and who wore a cunning disguise? Victory, victory to Sripada Srivallabha. Here ends the 7th chapter of Sripada Srivallabha Charitaamritham. Sripada RAJAM SHARANAM PRAPADHYE.
दिगंबरा दिगंबरा श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा 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 श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची पदोपदे अपार झाला पुण्याशा राशी सर्व ही तीर्थे गडाली आम्हा करुण काशी धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची मृदंग ताल घोष भक्ता भावरते गाठी मृदंग ताल घोष भक्ता भावरते गाठी नाम संकीर्तने नित्यानंदे नाचते नाम संकीर्तने नित्यानंदे नाचते धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची दिगंबरा दिगंबरा श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा 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 श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा कोटी ब्रह्मा हत्या हरिती करिता दंडवता कोटी ब्रह्मा हत्या हरिती करिता दंडवता लोटांगलिता लिता मोक्षा लोडे पायता लोटांगलिता लिता मोक्षा लोडे पायता धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची दिगंबरा दिगंबरा श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा 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 श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा गुरुभजनाचा महिमा नकळे अगमानिक मासी गुरुभजनाचा महिमा नकळे अगमानिक मासी अनुभवाने जानतीचे गुरुपहिदे रहिवासी अनुभवाने जानतीचे गुरुपहिदे रहिवासी धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परासुरवरा विमान उतरायाची दिगंबरा दिगंबरा श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा 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 श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा